Welcome to Mysteries and Legends, where the unexplained meets the unforgettable. I'm your host, Don from Investigation 13. Join me on a journey into the unknown, where we'll explore the strange, the bizarre, and the inexplicable. From ghostly encounters to cryptic legends, we'll dive into the stories that will leave you questioning what's real and what's just beyond the veil. From ghostly encounters to unexplained mysteries, we'll explore the most bizarre events from around the world.
Welcome to Mysteries and Legends, where the unexplained meets the unforgettable. Unforgettable. I'm your host, Don from Investigation 13. Join me on a journey into the unknown. We'll explore the strange, the bizarre, and the inexplicable. From ghostly encounters to cryptic legends, we'll dive into the stories that will leave you questioning what's real and what's just beyond the veil. From ghostly encounters to unexplained mysteries, we'll explore the most bizarre events from around the world. Yeah.
The moon cast an eerie glow over the rolling hills and dense forests of Drummond, QC, a small town nestled in the heart of Quebec. On August 10, 2023, at 9 p.m., Dom, a seasoned veteran of paranormal investigation and lead investigator from Investigation 13, and Jeff, a seasoned investigator from Exploring with Harley, stepped through the creaking gates of the Maplewood Cemetery, located on River Road. The cemetery, dating back to 1860, bore witness to the very early years of Kingsley Township, and was situated on what was once Abenaki hunting grounds. Dom, with over a decade of experience in paranormal investigation, had seen it all. From ghostly apparitions to unexplained phenomena, he had investigated countless cases that had left others baffled. Jeff, equally experienced, had a keen eye for detail and a deep understanding of the paranormal. As they walked deeper into the cemetery, the silence was oppressive, punctuated only by the distant hooting of an owl. Dom's eyes scanned the surroundings, his rugged features set in a determined expression. "This place gives me the chills," he said to Jeff, his deep voice low and serious. Jeff nodded, his eyes scanning the surroundings. "I've heard stories about this cemetery. People claim to have seen apparitions wandering the grounds, especially around the older sections." Dom's gaze lingered on the headstones, his interest piqued. "Let's check out the history of this place. Maybe we can find some clues about the paranormal activity." As they walked, they stumbled upon a section dedicated to the early settlers of the area. The headstones were weathered and worn, the inscriptions barely legible. Dom and Jeff began to read the names and dates, noticing a peculiar trend. "Look at this," Dom said, pointing to a headstone. "This family lost 3 children in the span of 2 years. The dates are all from the mid-1800s. Jeff nodded somberly. "Yeah, child mortality rates were high back then. But what's interesting is that the settlers seem to have had a significant impact on the Abenaki people who originally inhabited this land." The Abenaki people, also known as the Wabanaki, are an Algonquian-speaking Native American tribe that traditionally inhabited the region of Quebec and northern New England. They were a semi-nomadic people, living in small bands and relying on hunting, gathering, and fishing for their livelihood. The Abenaki were known for their skill in crafting birch bark canoes and their expertise in hunting and tracking. As Dom and Jeff explored the cemetery further, they stumbled upon a small monument dedicated to the Abenaki people who had lived in the region. The inscription spoke of the rich history and culture of the Abenaki, and the struggles they faced with the arrival of European settlers. At 10:45 p.m., Dom began to speak into the recorder. "We are here in Maplewood Cemetery, located on River Road in Drummond, QC, investigating the paranormal activity and learning about the history of the Abenaki people and the settlers. Is there anyone here with us tonight?" The silence was oppressive, and then, a faint whisper seemed to emanate from the recorder. "We were here first." Dom and Jeff exchanged a thrilled glance. Next, they decided to use the Ovilus, a device that allegedly captures words and phrases from the spirit world. Dom held the device, and suddenly, It began to spit out words. Shape, shifter, lurking, in, the, shadows, the ovalist said, its robotic voice sending chills down their spines. As they continued to investigate, Dom and Jeff captured more evidence and explored the grounds, determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. The spirits seemed to be present, and they could feel the weight of the history and the tragedy that had occurred in the cemetery. At 12 a.m., Dom and Jeff took a break, sitting down on a bench to review their evidence. Dom pulled out his laptop, and began to analyze the audio and video recordings. Jeff sat beside him, watching as he worked. "Look at this," Dom said, pointing to a spike on the audio recording. "This is a classic example of a EVP. Let's see if we can enhance it." As Dom worked, Jeff couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. He looked around, but saw nothing. The spirits, however, seemed to be getting more active, and the ovalist began to spit out more words. "Danger, lurking, in, the, night," the device said, its voice dripping with menace. Dom and Jeff exchanged a tense glance. They knew that they had to be careful, and that the spirits were getting more aggressive. But they were determined to uncover the truth behind the paranormal activity at the Maplewood Cemetery. The investigation continued, with Dom and Jeff working together to uncover the truth. As the night wore on, they captured more evidence and explored the grounds, determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. The spirits seemed to be getting more active, and Dom and Jeff knew that they were in for a wild ride. As the night wore on, the evidence continued to mount, and Dom and Jeff began to piece together the history of the cemetery and the paranormal activity that was occurring. They discovered that the cemetery was not just a place of rest for the deceased, but a nexus point for paranormal activity. The Abenaki people had always believed that the land was sacred and that the spirits of the dead continued to inhabit the land. Dom and Jeff began to realize that the paranormal activity was not just random events, but a complex web of energy and spirits that were interconnected. As the sun began to rise, Dom and Jeff concluded their investigation, exhausted but exhilarated by the experience. They knew that they had uncovered something significant and that the Maplewood Cemetery was a place of great importance to the paranormal community. The investigation would continue, and Dom and Jeff would return to the cemetery, determined to uncover more secrets and to understand the complex web of energy and spirits that inhabited the land. The Abenaki people would continue to play a significant role in their investigation, and Dom and Jeff would strive to honor their history and culture. The paranormal activity at the Maplewood Cemetery would remain a mystery, but Dom and Jeff knew that they had taken the first steps in uncovering the truth. They would continue to investigate and to learn more about the complex and fascinating world of the paranormal. As they left the cemetery, Dom turned to Jeff and said, "You know, Jeff, this investigation has been one of the most fascinating cases I've worked on. The history, the culture, the paranormal activity. It's all so intertwined." Jeff nodded in agreement. "I know what you mean, Dom. This case has been a real challenge, but it's also been incredibly rewarding. I think we've only scratched the surface of what's going on here." Dom smiled. "I think you're right, Jeff. We'll be back, and we'll continue to investigate this case until we get to the bottom of it." The investigation may be over for now, but the mystery of the Maplewood Cemetery will continue to haunt Dom and Jeff. They would return, and they would uncover more secrets and more evidence of the paranormal activity that was occurring. The spirits would continue to communicate with them, and they would learn more about the complex web of energy and spirits that inhabited the land. The Maplewood Cemetery would remain a place of mystery and intrigue, a place where the living and the dead intersected. And Dom and Jeff would be back, ready to face whatever lay ahead.